In this video, I'm going to teach you the 2 most important jazz piano improvisation steps you need as a complete beginner. Now, these 2 steps are going to build a rock solid foundation for you at jazz piano improvisation, which is going to allow you to further layer more advanced concepts on top of them and sound like a pro. If you're looking for more amazing free jazz piano education on improvisation, don't forget to check out my free masterclass by going to jazzpianoschool.com/improv masterclass. With that being said, my name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of Jazz Piano School. Let's dive right into this lesson. Here we go.
All right, so the first step is going to be to learn your chord tones, So here's what it sounds like if I create a jazz improvisation solo just based off of chord tones. And I'll tell you what those are in a second, okay? Here we go. Right, so pretty awesome. I mean, it doesn't sound quite like the jazz you hear on albums, but it's also getting there. It's definitely a great step to start. Now, here's what I'm doing when I play and solo and improvise with chord tones. You should know all your 7th chords, and the notes that make up your 7th chord are going to be your chord tones, right? So these 4 notes are my chord tones. They're the 4 notes that I'm going to use to start to improvise over this particular chord. So when I see a D minor 7 in a tune and a progression, I'm going to use those 4 notes. Right? Now, of course, these 4 notes are the anchors to the chord. They create the sound of the chord, so it only makes sense that if we use those 4 notes to improvise with, it's going to sound quite good, right? So we're going to do the same thing for the next chord that I improvised over, the G7. I'm going to use these 4 notes to improvise over with, right here. And then finally, our 1 major 7, I'm going to use these notes to improvise with. Now, it doesn't even matter what instrument you're playing, piano, sax, bass. These steps that I'm teaching you right now are going to be the rock solid foundation to improvisation on all instruments, okay? So again, you're going to want to practice these. The exercises you're going to want to practice are your chord tones for all different types of chords. Just start with 1 chord though. You can easily start with this D minor 7 chord here and just use these 4 notes to solo with. So again, plop the chord down and just mess around. When the sound of your left hand starts to kind of dissipate, just replay it again so you can kind of hear the harmonies, but you can already start to explore. As long as you're using those 4 notes, you really can't make a mistake, which is so awesome about this particular method that I teach, right? So here are your chord tones. If you do want to get a little bit more advanced, you can start to move through different chords, like a 2-5-1 pattern, which I'm playing here. And again, as long as you're using the 4 notes from within the chord, you really can't make any mistake, okay? So I might go... right? Just like that. And again, to practice the chord tones, to get them in your head, under your hand, here's a great exercise to do. You can move up and down and arpeggiate them in your right hand. Okay, and just do root position chords. Just like this. You can do first inversion, right, of all the chords. And then here. Okay? So that's going to be the first step, is you really want to learn your chord tones and how to improvise with your chord tones over different types of changes. And when you can do that over tunes and progressions, you're going to be definitely well on your way to becoming a fantastic improviser. Now, the next step I want to give to you right now is the ability to connect the notes, because right now it's all choppy because we're just using space in between the notes. So what I'm going to give you here is the glue notes, what I call the glue notes. And I'm going to give you the default improvisation scales that, again, no matter what instrument you're on, you can use. So anytime you see a minor 7 chord, take the major scale of the root of the chord. So in this case, it's a D minor 7. I'm going to play a D major scale. And I'm going to flat my 3rd and my 7th. So instead of F sharp and C sharp, I'm going to have F and C. So I flatted my 3rd and 7th. Right? So this gives me the default scale I can use to improvise over a D minor 7 chord. Now check it out. I've only added 3 notes. I still have all 4 of my chord tones, and I'm adding 3 extra notes, right? Now, even though I've added those glue notes to connect my chord tones together, I still want to focus on my chord tones because they make up the chord quality. So now I might do something like this. So in the beginning, try to start your line with a chord tone and end with a chord tone. All right, check it out again. I'll start with a chord tone, land on a chord tone, land on a chord tone, right? So you always want to be starting and ending with a chord tone. This is going to really make your improvisation sound great. And the same holds true for when you switch to the next chord. Okay, so I'm going to give you your default scale for this chord now too. It's very, very easy. Take the root of the chord. We're always going to take the root of the chord, play your major scale. And for dominant chords, not minor chords, we're going to flat the major 7 down to a flat 7. This is going to be your default scale. This is going to give your glue notes in between your chord tones to now give you that ability to connect and move up in the scalar motion. So now I might go, again, using my rule, starting with a chord tone, ending with a chord tone. Right? So now I can move up and down and connect my chord tones together. Now the last one I want to give you, super easy. It's just going to be your major scale for the major chord that you see. And again, I've added my glue notes, so I have my chord tones, and I can now move up and down between all of my chord tones. Now, as you start to get more advanced at this, obviously you want to practice with one chord at a time. So I might just start to move up and down my scale. Maybe play some skips, thirds like this is a great thing to do. Then I can start to move into playing over progressions. So if I want to play over progressions, meaning 3 chords or 4 chords connected to each other, the only rule that you need to know is that you want to land on a chord tone of the new chord when you get to that new chord. And you've already practiced this because it's what I taught you in step 1, right, with all your chord tones. So now what I want to do is move between my chords, playing lines from my default, playing notes from my default scale, still focusing on chord tones. And when that next chord comes up, I want to land on a chord tone to that new chord. Here's what it might sound like. Landed on the chord tone there, the 5th. Landed on the 5th here of the C major 7. So this is how you would go about practicing your improv through different types of progressions. I'll try another one. 5, 7, 3. So now I'm really improvising over the harmonies. If I kind of give it a swing feel, add some time to it, maybe some rhythmic comps. Starts to actually sound like you're doing some amazing types of improvisation, right? So these easy 2 steps, if you're a beginner, are going to be the ones that you want to work on and spend time with the most. Now, again, I gave you the 3 default scales you need to play over a minor 7, a dominant 7, and a major 7. So for your minor 7, take the major scale of whatever chord you're playing, the root of the chord, D major in this case, flat your 3rd and your 7. Okay? For your dominant scale, take your major scale and flat the 7th. So now you get that note, it matches in my thumb here. And then for all your major 7 chords, just play your major scale, okay? So 2 easy steps for beginners to start to work on, to start to improvise, right, over jazz chords, over 7th chords, over tunes as well. And obviously, if you can practice these scales and the chord tones over as many different types of keys as possible, that's going to help you be able to play over more tunes as well. But hopefully that helps. Work on this a lot because it's the foundation to improv. After these 2 steps, you'd start to move into bebop approach notes to get some tension and release, but I'm not going to go over that here, okay? Enjoy, have a great time, work on those 2 steps, and in no time, you'll be able to improvise in jazz piano and add additional advanced concepts and layers to what we've already worked on here. Talk to you soon. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com to check out all of our free, amazing education, all of the free podcast blogs. We do have a membership if you're looking to take a next step forward with us, get access to over 1,000 different jazz piano videos, playbooks, mini courses, a main course curriculum, success path, and so much more. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at support@jazzpianoschool.com. I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy practicing.